So if, is he recording? So if everyone could stand, please, and we'll go ahead and do our oath of office for our newly elected officials.
You don't have to stand.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was talking to them.
Doing mine first or theirs first?
Well, the way that the sheet is that I have, you can,
We're gonna be able to do them at the same time?
so what I'll do is it reads I, and then you state your name. And then when it gets to the section where it says, wait a minute.
I'll just say the title, different than everyone else. I got it.
Right.
In your name.
Okay,
And my name's different than everyone else.
Yeah.
Here it
Can I
is.
say Mike's name?
I'm circling that for me.
Nobody else saw this one? Come on.
So if we do yours first, then yours will say President of Council. So we'll do Mr. Graver first.
So you are doing me separate.
I will.
All right. Then the rest of you can
So
stand.
I'm sorry. I apologize. So if you would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I
I, Mike Graver,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio
and the ordinances of the City of North College Hill,
and the ordinances of the City of North College Hill,
and that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
and that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
discharge the duties of the President of City Council
will discharge the duties of the office of President of City Council
of the Municipality of North College Hill, State of Ohio, during my continuance in said office.
of the Municipality of North College Hill, State of Ohio, during my continuance in said office.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, if everyone else would like to stand. Again, congratulations on your election, and we look forward to another wonderful 4 years of growing our city. Mr. Graver, I didn't say that to you, but
It was implied.
It was
congratulations.
inferred.
Yeah. So if you would, the same manner as Mr. Graver, I, and state your name.
I, Erica Underwood,
Raise your right hand, I'm sorry. Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio
and the ordinances of the City of North College Hill,
and the ordinance of the City of North College Hill,
and that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
and that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office of City Council
of the office of City Council
of the Municipality of North College Hill,
of the Municipality of North College Hill,
State of Ohio, during my continuance in said office.
State of Ohio, during my continuance in said office.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So if everyone would sign, and then if you pass it down, then I'll sign and get it back to you before the end of
Can I
the
see your
meeting.
pen, please? Thank you.
That's why you have two.
Thank you.
That's not what-
Going that way.
Where are we passing them?
That way.
To your right.
Thank you.
We're just waiting for, thank you.
Oh, well, I told him I'm gonna open it and eat it during the meeting. So when I realized, oh, thank you, when I realized that executive session.
All right, well,
was on there,
thank
I
you
was like,
to
oh,
everyone.
make it.
As we are ready to kick off Year 2022 for North College Hill City Council. Everyone, please stand for the prayer for the NCH City Council. God our Father, we are all your servants. We trust in your mercy and love. We trust also in your guidance. Direct the meetings of this Council of North College Hill to make good decisions for all the people who live in our city. Give all the members of this council wisdom and insight to know what is best for our city. Help us to be fair and just in all our decisions. Bless us all to do the very best we can. With your help and guidance, we pray this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Call this meeting to order. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Mr. Hedger is feeling under the weather and he will not be with us tonight, so I will do the roll call. Ms. Dukes-Dean?
Present.
Ms. DeWald?
Present.
Ms. Underwood?
Present.
Mr. Miller-Novak?
Present.
Ms. Zorb?
Here.
Ms. Blythe?
Here.
Ms. Anderson?
Here.
Everyone is present. All right, you do have tonight's agenda.
Mr. President,
Ms. Zorb?
I have a question about tonight's agenda.
Yes, ma'am.
I see 4 pieces of legislation on here, and I'm fairly certain that none of them have gone through any committee for review. So I'm kind of curious how they got approved and are on, got approved to be on the agenda.
So as we were getting these things done, several of them need to get attention very quickly. If we need to send them to agenda after, or to a committee after first reading, then I think we should do that. But otherwise, I determined to just put them on the agenda.
Can you help me understand which ones are, excuse me, a fire?
Mr. Graver, I understand that Mr. Mosby's not here, but I might be able to help out a little bit if you need any help.
Well, I think Resolution 4.
Mr. Dieters.
Mr. Dieters, microphone,
Oh,
please.
I'm
you
sorry.
might-
You have to just bear with me here for a
Yep.
little bit. I'm a newbie, right?
Yep.
So I know we wanted to get Resolution 4
Erica.
moving. That is for
Your
the
microphone.
fire department. Mr. Dieters, did you have anything to add to any of that?
Yeah, I think, I don't want to speak for Mr. Mosby, but I think 01022 was just to get an advance on the payment of taxes, so I don't know if I think he probably wanted to avoid the delay in 3 readings on that. The number 2, the levy, you probably could send that, there's probably not as great a fire on that as, you haven't for a while on that one. And I think the assessments on the auditor, I'm not sure why that one's on there, number 3, but I can speak to 1, 2, and 4, so.
So with that, Mr. Graver.
Yes, ma'am.
Diesel Pete's.
I know. I do the
Sorry.
same thing. It's all right.
I apologize. May we strike Resolution 2, 2022 from the agenda, and perhaps you could assign that to a committee?
Mr. President.
Is that a motion?
It is.
Okay.
Sorry, I forgot to say the magic word.
I'm sorry, that was 3, right?
It was Resolution 2,
It's Resolution 2.
yes.
Oh,
I'll say 3 also. How's that?
Mr.
I can second the motion.
I had Ms. Underwood next.
I just had a question. I didn't want to second the motion.
Mr. President.
I had Mr. Miller, I had Ms. Blythe next.
I can second the
She just
motion.
seconded.
Okay. Then I had Mr. Miller-Novak.
Mr. President,
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, the way you said that made me think that you, I
no.
apologize.
No. It's, I was just wondering, can we just do the first reading and then send it to the committee?
There's excuse me, Mr. President,
Ms. Zorb?
there always seems to be a version control issue if changes do have to be made.
Okay, Mr.
So
Miller Novak?
I feel like it's cleaner if
Okay.
if there's no emergency on it, then I'm not so sure what the big deal would be.
Mr. Miller Novak?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you know, I guess with, you know, the renewal levy, when's that due, Bill?
But it depends on if you're going to go for a November issue, Mr. Novak, it would be due, what is it, 90 days prior or 75 days prior? So
Okay.
sometime
I mean,
in
I don't-
August.
I don't mind putting that in committee, but I mean, just to be honest, I mean, a resolution to certify assessments to the county auditor for the placement, we do that every single month. It's just like it's just for people that didn't cut their grass and we don't ever even end up discussing it. I just don't understand why we don't pace it, like put it in there so we get the property tax, we get the assessments done. We've never had a single substantive conversation about one of those resolutions in the entire time I've been on city council. It just seems to be a waste of everybody's time and effort to put that into a committee for the sake of putting it into a committee. Regarding the police levy, I don't really have a problem with that. If it's not, Mr. Dieter says it's not a time emergency, it's a levy. I don't have a problem with putting that into finance or public safety to discuss. But the tax duplicate thing, I mean, geez. It's like roll call. It's just a habit more than anything we ever discuss.
Ms. DeWald?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Regarding the Resolution 2, we really don't need to get anything into the Board of Elections until August 10th, according to the information they've handed me. I think that's it's a two-part system, though, isn't it? So I'm sure we've had a deadline earlier than that. So I'm not sure that my question was completely understood by the girl that I spoke with down there. But I think our final deadline is August 10th for the police levy. And then, according to Mr. Miller Novak, we have had issues on the tax duplicate, is what they're called. There have been some cases where residents were rewarded a refund because they were charged incorrectly. And so I think it is wise to send it through to a committee, just to have us look at it, so that if we do need to come back and go, this should have been a refund and not to certify their taxes. So also, with that being in mind, I'm going to ask Mr. Dieters if he would be diligent enough when we do these tax duplicates. I'm not sure if you do them or does Bill Knight do them?
Mr. Wald, I do not do them. I think Mr.
That's what I thought. I thought it was
right.
Bill
I think
Knight.
I drafted the initial boilerplate legislation, and then they just use it over again and attach the new pieces of property to it.
Okay, and so Mr. Mosby probably knows clearly what I'm talking about, because the time that we had to decertify, the title still remained to certify. So we were trying to refund somebody, and yet the title of the document said we were certifying her property. So that's why we need to look at these carefully to make sure that the verbiage is correct in here. So I fully recommend that these go to committee, even though they might seem trivial. Sometimes there can be a snag.
Okay, we have a motion to remove Resolution 2 and Resolution 3 from tonight's agenda, send them to committee by Ms. Zorb, second by Ms. Blythe. I will call the roll. Ms. Dukes-Dean?
No.
Ms. DeWald?
Yes.
Ms. Underwood?
No.
Mr. Miller Novak?
Nope.
Ms. Zorb?
Yes.
Ms. Blythe?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
No.
Motion fails, 3-4.
Mr. President,
Mr. Miller Novak?
this quick discussion, I mean, I'm willing to remove the police levy and put it to committee, but because you doubled up the motion, I wasn't willing to vote yes. I don't
Mr.
have a
President?
problem doing
Is that
that.
a motion then?
Yeah, that's a motion to,
Mr. President, I'll second
do
that
that.
motion.
Mr. President, if I could just mention one thing, I don't know if it may have some implication on the vote that council has, just so
Yes,
they're
sir.
fully informed. And this goes a little bit to what Mr. Wald said. It's a two-part process to put a property tax levy on the ballot. The first piece of legislation council passes is just to ask the county auditor to certify what your value is, so you can determine if you're going a certain amount of mills, how much money it will generate. That's what this piece is. So it's just asking the county auditor what the value is. You could ask the county auditor what the value is and not even put anything on the ballot ever into the future. So this is very ministerial in nature. It's just asking the county auditor how much is our value. It's not putting anything on the ballot or not. That's the second action the council has to take. So I don't know if that makes any difference at all in your vote, but I feel like you need to know that before you vote.
honestly, it does. So I appreciate that. I'd like to withdraw my motion because I just want to find out what it is, and then maybe we can discuss in committee substantively about the levy. So that does matter for me to the point where I'm going to withdraw my motion. Thanks, Mr. Dieters.
It might actually be beneficial to know what your value is to see whether or not you just want to renew the existing levy, or you think you need to do something different like a replacement levy or something. So it might actually be of some benefit to your committee to know what your values are before you have the discussion.
Yeah, makes sense. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, motion is withdrawn. There are no other changes. We need to
Mr. President,
adopt the agenda. Ms. Underwood,
I move that we adopt the agenda.
Mr. President,
Mr. Miller Novak,
I second that.
Mr. President,
discussion, Ms. DeWalden.
yes, discussion. I had sent an email out late in the day regarding the city calendar, which needs to be viewed and adopted really as soon as possible. And I had asked basically if we could just put that in new business. Would that be council's wish, or do we want to,
We just bring it up in new business.
there we go. We don't need to change the agenda then, you're right.
All right, motion to adopt the agenda for Ms. Underwood, second for Mr. Miller Novak. I'll call the roll. Ms. Dukes-Dean,
Yes.
Ms. DeWald,
Yes.
Ms. Underwood,
Yes.
Mr. Miller Novak,
Yes.
Ms. Zorb,
No.
Ms. Blythe,
Yes.
Ms. Anderson.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-1. All right, you have before you minutes from the 11:15 meeting, special council meeting on 12/16, minutes from the 12:20 meeting, and minutes from a special council meeting on 12/22.
Mr. President,
Ms. Anderson.
I just have a question. If I was absent or excused from a meeting, do I still vote to approve those minutes? Does anybody know that answer?
Mr. President, typically you'd abstain on that, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald,
I make a motion to approve all the minutes that have been set before us today.
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood.
I'll second that motion.
Motion from Ms. DeWald, second from Ms. Underwood, to adopt all 4 meeting minutes presented tonight. Any discussion? I will call the roll. Ms. Dukes-Dean,
Yes.
Ms. DeWald,
Yes.
Ms. Underwood,
Yes.
Mr. Miller Novak,
Yes.
Ms. Zorb,
Yes.
Ms. Blythe,
Yes.
Ms. Anderson.
Abstain.
Motion passes 6-0 with an abstention. Next item on the agenda is communication. There is none listed. I'm not aware of any. So we'll move to the committees, starting with City Community Development and Recreation.
Thank you, Mr. President. We haven't met since our last council meeting, and our next meeting is next Monday, the 10th at 6:30 here in council chambers.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson.
Thank you.
Budget and Finance.
Yeah, we we met a couple times. I think actually since our last meeting, though, we haven't, so I don't really have any new updates. Just maybe kind of a nudge to a couple of my committee members who took meeting minutes at a couple of our past meetings.
They're in your mailbox.
What's that?
I mean, they're in your inbox, I think.
Are they? Okay, well, I'll check. But if those are sent to me, it'd be super, super, super cool. So we can approve those at the next finance committee meeting. I know that everybody knows, if you've been checking your email, we have a new finance director. So that's exciting. I think that's it. I don't think I have any knowledge of what we're going to discuss yet at the next meeting. I'm sure Ron will send me some stuff. Yeah. Cool stuff, great stuff, bad stuff, all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. So we'll have all kinds of stuff at our next meeting to discuss, which will occur here at 7:30 on Monday,
The 10th.
the 10th. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Rules and Public Policy?
Thank you, Mr. President. We last had a meeting on the 27th, but had to be canceled because we did not have a quorum. Our next meeting will be January 24th. Said that like a question, but it's January 24th.
Thank you. Public Safety?
Thank you, Mr. President. Our last meeting had to be canceled. It was the schedule for December 27th. Our next meeting will be January 24th.
Thank you. Any ad hoc reports?
Yes, Mr. President, thank you.
Go ahead, Ms. DeWald.
I was able to attend the senior center, stop it. The NCH senior board meeting. They talked about their Christmas party this year with COVID and stuff. They were concerned about the representation, and the Christmas party was well attended. They want to give a big thanks to Barb and Terry, who were two of the board members who could make it, and it was a huge success. They worked with the North College Hill Police Department to have a successful Cram the Cruiser, and I believe she reported there was 2.5 cruisers of grocery items. So the director, Brandy, and her husband unloaded the cruisers on that Saturday following I guess it was held on a Saturday. And they had enough food to hand out to all the people that they had designated to, plus more left over. And what's left over, they're handing it out to the seniors that are at the center that work the bingos and help support them. She said it was a wonderful gesture from both the police and the community. Let's see, their senior center is closed this first week of January 3rd through the 7th. They are going to have a bunco night Friday, April the 22nd, which is a huge fundraiser for them. So if you'd like to attend, you're not going to have more fun for less money. It's a terrific event. And that's all. Oh, their next board meeting is 15th, but you don't need to know that. That's all I have.
Mr. President,
Thank you, Ms. DeWald. Ms. Blythe?
Mr. Wall, can you explain Bungo Night? What do they do?
Oh, well, bunco is a very fast-paced dice game, and some of the women there are quite professional at it. So you need to keep up. It is an exciting night. There's food, fun, and games all night long.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Mr. President,
Ms. Zorb?
Ms. DeWald, could you please repeat the date and time for the bunco?
That is being held Friday night, April the 22nd, and the time is yet to be determined, I believe. I don't have any times on that.
Thank you. But my own PSA, it is very fun, but keep in mind, you might get yelled at by a 90-year-old woman for not rolling the dice fast enough.
Yeah, watch out for Flo, 'cause she's fast.
All right, thank you, Ms. DeWald. Any other ad hoc reports? I'm Hearing none, we'll move on to the administrative reports. Good evening, Ms. Nichols.
Good evening.
You can go ahead with the mayor's report.
Thank you. I don't have much. I just wanted to again congratulate everyone, our newly elected officials. I was creating a word. Who've been here again. Congratulations. It's good to see Mr. Dieters here with us as well. I just wanted to let everyone know, to our members who are people who are watching from home, that we did post the recreation position. So if you know anyone who's interested, if you would let them know to go out there and apply. I do believe we have one application already, so people are looking at it. So we're ready to get that going again so we can get our Recreation Commission started back. And I think that's all I have. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you. Any questions for the mayor?
Mr. President,
Ms. Orr?
Madam Mayor, would you like to talk about the Public Works position that's also posted?
Oh, yeah. It is posted. I believe we have had three applicants already. So that is 25 hours per week, I believe, at $13 an hour. If you know anyone who's interested in that, tell them to get the applications in, because we really want to get that part-time position filled as soon as possible. The other two part-time positions that are temporary, those won't open up probably until spring. So. Excuse me.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Next up, City Administrator's Report, Mr. Mosby.
Thank you, Mr. President. I guess first I would like to say Happy New Year to everyone. I do hope that everyone had a very nice holiday, and congratulations to all of the newly returning members of City Council. Just a couple of things. Number one, I'd like to begin on a very good note. Today was the first day for our new finance manager, and she's here with us tonight, and her name is Kirsten Vanderberg. Kirsten comes to us from Michigan, but she has a daughter here at Xavier University, and so she, of course, lives here. And so we're very happy to have her with us. She has a very strong background in the financial area, where when she was in Michigan, she worked for Berrien County, where she was the deputy chief. Thank you very much. In charge of drains, so she was managing 700 drains, which included payroll and all of that. So we're very much looking forward to her services and being part of the North College Hill family.
Would you like to? Mr. President, could she address this?
Yeah, and can you please go to the lectern so you can use the microphone? Thank you.
We recently moved here October 8th, so we've just been in our house for a few months. My daughter is at Xavier.
You can pull this down if you, it's pretty flexible. There you go. Thank you.
And I am an Ohio State grad, so I've got that going for me, OH.
I-O.
Perfect. And then my husband he graduated from Denison University with a degree in economics. And then my daughter, of course, is at Xavier. We really like the area. We found some great places in White Oak. That's where we live. So not far. It's only about 2 miles from here. But I've had about 5.5 years of government experience working for Berrien County and also the city of Benton Harbor as a finance director there. And then, I've had experience with manufacturing, things like that, but doesn't apply here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome. Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. President, just a couple of other things. I apologize, but I came in afterwards. I was not sure what all of the discussion was about, but I did want to actually reiterate something that Mr. Dieter said, and again, just bring something to for council's consideration. we had talked about this once before. I believe that actually Ms. Underwood brought it up, that we basically have 21 council meetings a year. And as Mr. Dieter said, this process is a two-step process when it comes to, and I'm speaking specifically pertaining to the legislation to put the police levy on the ballot. I know that the mayor has a very ambitious and aggressive agenda for this year, and I know that this is going to be a very busy year. If, for example, and so looking at this, if council said that they wanted to have all three readings, for example, for that legislation, it would not be voted on until February. It would then have to be passed to the auditor's office, the Hamilton County Auditor's Office. It would then have to come back to us. So more than likely, it would not get on, the second piece would not get on the agenda until either the latter part of April or perhaps even the early part of May. At that same time, we are going to have because the preparation will be required for the tax budget, and that will have to be heard. And that is due in July as well. So I guess what I'm saying is I would hope that council would take these matters into consideration when disposing of legislation such as this, because I know that in the past, you all have asked of me to try to make sure I get these things on the agenda early enough, which is why I put it on here for the first of the year. So again, I would just stress that I am going to do my best to meet your wishes. I would hope that with everything that we plan on doing this year, that you all would also help me as well. And Mr. President, that's really all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Mosby. Any questions? Next up.
I have one or two. I feel like when you're out of the room, maybe Mr. Dieter suggested that there's maybe some urgency with the collective bargaining agreement. Is that?
That as well, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
You want to tell me why?
Well, the resolution, which I believe is resolution number 4, has been ratified by the fire department. It is actually the part-time collective bargaining agreement. However, the full-time bargaining unit has also, there has been a Me Too clause that basically, which says that once this is passed, it's the full-time bargaining unit would basically practically mirror, because there are certain benefits a full-time gets that the part-timers do not get. So this particular piece of legislation was one that had been held off, and the firefighters agreed to it as we worked to pass the levy. So yes, there is a sense of urgency to it. We would like to get this passed so that they would be able to have their bargaining agreement in full force.
Mr. President, if I could add that too, Mr. Novak, I think it would also help in just the processing of any compensation increases, so we would have less back pay that we might have to calculate.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I guess the reason I'm asking that is because I know we have an executive session listed after legislation, but I mean, I think if we're being asked to pass the resolution for collective bargaining, we're allowed to talk about collective bargaining in executive session, that maybe it makes sense that we have executive session before legislation, so we can talk about the matter that's listed here, and then also maybe discuss the collective bargaining agreement in executive session as well before we vote.
That would certainly be council's wish.
Yeah, Mr. President, I mean, not that I have a vote, but I would indicate that I would support that strongly, because one of the issues in executive session may also require council action on a piece of legislation afterwards, so it may make sense to just table that resolution number until after executive session.
Or maybe we just,
Move on
I
to
know
executive
we've already
session.
approved of the agenda, but there's no reason we can't, after we're done with administrative reports or call of members, that we can't move to enter executive session at that point in time, right? So why don't we just, well, it's just my thought. I mean, I'll make the motion, I guess. We'll either do it or not, but thanks for answering my questions.
Did you make a motion?
Well, I don't think it's appropriate for me to do it now. I think we could just go through call of members and remarks for the audience, and I can do it at that point in
All right.
time.
All right, next up, we have the law director's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also wish to parrot the wish everyone a happy new year and a prosperous new year for 2022. Be nice to put an end to this COVID thing, hopefully, during this next 12-month period. So let's all keep our fingers crossed and pray hard for that. Secondly, I'm really excited to be here at council meetings moving forward. So I wish to express my gratitude to council to making that change in my contract individually with the city. I hope to be an asset to you at these meetings and continue representing the city faithfully and loyally. I think being here will also provide me maybe a ability to be more effective in that representation, because I don't always, as much as Mr. Mosby and keeps me informed of what's going on, I hear it through other people instead of experiencing it firsthand. So I think that'll be helpful. I have some of my business cards that I'll pass out to all the council persons when we're done. And if any time you have questions, feel free to call me. I'm the only person, I think, in the city that works directly for council and the mayor. So I work directly for both people under the charter. I'm the only one, I think, that actually is in that position. So feel free to call me anytime you want if you have any questions. But I'll pass out cards before we leave this evening. Other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dieters. Next up is the finance director's report. You ready? I'm kidding. You get a pass this evening. But we are so happy to have you here tonight. Thank you. All right, that will take us to call of members. Ms. Dukes-Dean.
First, I'd like to welcome Kirsten Vanderberg. I'm very excited to see you here tonight, and it's pleasant to have you on board. Thank you, and Happy New Year to everyone. Happy holidays. I hope everybody was well and healthy, and that is all.
Thank you. Ms. DeWald.
I'm going to ditto that. Welcome, Ms. Finance Director. Welcome, Mr. Dieters. It's good to see you at that desk. And Happy New Year. Oh, and one more thing. Congratulations to all those hardworking people that fought really hard for these positions on council.
Thank you, Ms. DeWald. Ms. Underwood.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to say Happy New Year to everyone. I would also like to say welcome to our new finance director. Welcome to our law director. This has been it was a long fight. I'm really happy to see you over there. You've been very helpful just already. It's just really been great. So welcome. Really happy you're here. Congratulations to all of my fellow council members who, won the hard-fought election. And I'm looking forward to taking part in this labor of love with my fellow council members. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Underwood. Mr. Miller-Novak.
Yeah, I'll just echo Happy New Year. Welcome. Thanks for coming. Yeah. Nah, just kidding. Thanks for, being here, Mr. Dieters. It is helpful. Again, just being informed, I think, of the first reading, things like that, it's really helpful to draw from your experience when we make decisions. The only other thing is, my wife works in healthcare, and just want to remind everybody that it is getting bad out there again with the COVID stuff. And, Mr. Hedger didn't come today because he didn't feel well, and I want to thank him for doing that. I also want to hope that he's doing well and doing well. And I think that's a good reminder to all of us here that while our job is important, that if any of us doesn't feel well, we have a responsibility to one another as well as ourselves to stay home and get tested, because we shouldn't be spreading things to one another. I mean, quite literally. We are what makes this government function between us and those gentlemen and that woman right there on that table and her. So all of us getting sick at the same exact time is not good for our residents. So thinking that it's better to come here to vote on something, it's not. If you're not feeling well, I think we should all Scouts honor here and make sure we stay home and protect one another, because we do run this city. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Miller-Novak. Ms. Zorb.
So at the risk of sounding very repetitive, welcome. Glad to see you here. Welcome, Mr. Dieters. You have already proven to be a benefit to being in attendance at this meeting, so thank you for that. And I'm going to tag along. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm going to tag along Matt Miller-Novak. I just had a conversation with my sister, and it was, I'm old school, and old school, when you get sick, you tough it out, and you just go and go and go, and there has to be a different mindset right now, and you don't go. You do stay home. And as a matter of fact, I got tested Thursday because of it. So I came back negative.
I'm glad you finished the
I
statement
did.
with that.
I did. Came back negative. But it's the difference in the mindset that we all need to adopt. So that I just want to make sure we are all aware. I know everyone's heard it all before, but I just wanted to say it again. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Ms. Zorb. Ms. Blythe.
Just want to wish everyone a happy new year and welcome to our new finance director, and also welcome to Mr. Dieters. And thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Blythe. Ms. Anderson.
I will echo the welcomes. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Thanks for tagging along. I also want to thank you guys for excusing my so many absences recently with a possible COVID exposure that I, again, was not positive, thank goodness. But, and chronic migraines, it's quite hard to always be in attendance. So thank you guys so much for for being excused. Happy New Year as well, and that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. So next would be remarks from the audience. I don't believe we have anyone signed in.
Get your shot, guys. You want to criticize your mother in public? Okay.
Do you want to make a motion then?
Okay. Yeah, so it's going to be a mouthful. But I move that we enter executive session to discuss the compensation of one or more employees, imminent litigation, and discussions related to collective bargaining.
What, excuse me, which employees are you referring to?
We're not going to name them. We don't have to do that. We
Mr.
just
President.
say employees.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Ms. Anderson.
I'll second that motion.
All right, so.
Mr. President, discussion, or are you going to call for discussion?
No, yeah, I will call for discussion.
Okay.
So 3 things: employee compensation.
Yes. The
impending
compensation of one or more employees.
Employee compensation, 1 or more.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say
Imminent litigation, not pending.
imminent
Imminent.
litigation,
And then discussions relating to
collective bargaining?
collective bargaining.
Discussion, Ms. DeWalt.
I was wondering if we could hold the executive session in this room. We have a room that the children can go to. We also have a small lounge down at the end of the hall if anybody wanted to sit there, if you weren't comfortable being in the room with other strangers. Because we're a pretty big group to put in that little bitty room.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to take us all into that room.
We just celebrated holidays. I was only with my family, but who knows who they were with.
No, that's sensible to me.
I'm sorry, Mr. President.
My only concern is confirming that we're signed off from ICRC at the time.
Okay.
Okay,
Sorry.
as long as you can confirm that.
Moreover, Mr. President,
Mr. Miller-Novak?
I don't need to put it in the motion, but I think just put it on the record that we're going to invite the administrator, right, And the mayor, no? We don't need to put it on the record or anything?
You can, it's not required.
Okay.
Ms.
You are
Dukestein,
inviting the people at
I'm
that
inviting
table.
those 3 people to stay, yes.
the office is warmer than, especially that, where the pop machine is, it's freezing down there. So if they're welcome to go in the office.
Want me to show them where it is?
They know.
All right, any other discussion?
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
could we take like a 5-minute break so I can show Bob where the pop machine and things are if he needs to?
That's fine, we can direct people where they need to go.
Here.
Ms. Dukestein?
Thank you.
Yes.
Ms. DeWald?
Yes.
Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Miller-Novak?
Don't waste it.
Mr. Miller-Novak?
Yes.
Ms. Zorb?
Yes.
Ms. Blythe?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
We're going to executive session. Go live. Thank you, sir. Welcome back from executive session. We need a motion to reconvene our meeting.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
I make a motion to reconvene.
I'll
Mr.
second.
President, oh,
I got Ms. Zorb. She just threw it out there.
I'm sorry.
Remember, as we've gone back, we need to use our microphones. All right, I will call the roll. Ms. Dukes-Dean?
Yes.
Ms. DeWald?
Did we get a
Yes.
second?
Yes, we did. I'm sorry.
Okay.
The motion was for Ms. DeWald, second for Ms. Zorb to reconvene the meeting.
Oh, okay.
Ms. DeWald?
Yes.
Thank you, sorry. Ms. Underwood?
yes.
Mr. Miller-Novak?
Yeah.
Ms. Zorb?
Yes.
Ms. Blythe?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. So we're at the point in our meeting of legislation. I have first reading for Resolution 1, 2022, a resolution requesting the county auditor to make advance payment of taxes. Next up is first reading Resolution 2, 2022, a resolution declaring it necessary to renew an existing levy of a tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation for police department purposes and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President,
Mr. Miller-Novak?
I move that we suspend the second and third reading.
Mr. President,
Ms. Anderson?
I'll second that.
All right, I have a motion to suspend the second and third readings for Resolution 2, 2022. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President.
Ms. DeWald?
Just for clarification, this does not put it on the ballot. This just gives us, how did you word that, Mr. Dieters?
This is just, all this is doing is asking the county auditor to certify your values.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I will call the roll. Ms. Dukes-Dean?
Yes.
Ms. DeWald?
Yes.
Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Miller-Novak?
Yes.
Ms. Zorb?
No.
Ms. Blythe?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
6-1.
I'm sorry, 6-1, thank you.
It's that council math.
Yeah, I fell into the Ms. DeWald trap.
Yes, you did.
Thank you.
Motion to adopt.
Are we going to adopt this?
Oh, yeah, hey, I'm, Mr. President,
Mr. Miller-Novak?
I was reading ahead to the next one, so I motion that we adopt Resolution 2-2022.
Mr. President,
Ms. Anderson?
I'll second that.
All right, motion to adopt Resolution 2, 2022 from Mr. Miller-Novak, second by Ms. Anderson. Any discussion? I will call the roll. Ms. Dukes-Dean?
Yes.
Ms. DeWald?
Yes.
Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Miller-Novak?
Yep.
Ms. Zorb?
Yes.
Ms. Blythe?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. All right, next up, first reading, Resolution 3, 2022, a resolution to certify assessments to the county auditor for placement on the tax duplicate. Okay, next up is first reading, Resolution 4, 2022. This is a resolution to authorize the city administrator to execute a collective bargaining agreement between the city of North College Hill and the part-time North College Hill Firefighters Bargaining Unit, AFS-CME, Ohio Council 8, Local 2372.
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood,
I move that we suspend the second and third readings for resolution number 4-2022.
Mr. President,
Mr. Miller-Novak.
I'll second that.
Motion for Ms. Underwood. Second for Mr. Miller Novak. Discussion?
Woohoo.
I will call the roll.
Let's have discussion.
Ms. Dukes-Dean?
Yes.
Ms. DeWald?
Yes.
Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Miller Novak?
Yep.
Ms. Zorb?
No.
Ms. Blythe?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-1.
Mr. President,
Mr. Miller Novak?
I move that we adopt Resolution 4-2022.
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All right, have a motion to adopt Resolution 4-2022 by Mr. Miller Novak, second by Ms. Underwood. I will call the roll. Ms. Dukes-Dean?
Yes.
Ms. DeWald?
Yes.
Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Miller Novak?
Yep.
Ms. Zorb?
Yes.
Ms. Blythe?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. I had to, I'm sorry.
I agree.
This needed to happen.
Agreed.
Mr. President,
Been working on this since 2018.
may I ask a question?
Mr. Mosby.
To you and to members of council. I'm just curious as to, was there any particular reason that there was not a suspension of reading for Resolution 0122? That is requesting advance payment from the county, which gives us cash that we would normally have to wait until April for in order to operate.
Mr. President,
Ms. Anderson?
can I move to suspend readings 2 and 3 for resolution number 1-2022?
Don't look at me, we got a law
I know,
director over
he's
there.
writing though, I was waiting. Mr. Dieters?
Yes and no. No, if you're going to follow Robert's Rules of Order clearly, and that had already happened.
Yeah.
Yes, if you feel it's a necessity, because it would be sort of, there really would be no harm, no foul, because as long as council voted, I don't know if anybody would actually would file a lawsuit to consider it to be not legal.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
Mr. Mosby, do you know what the deadline is to get this in?
Well, I don't think that there is any deadline, to be honest with you, because if we did, they would just pay us the.
In April.
They pay it.
April. What
Okay.
this does, and what the
Expedites.
majority of the municipalities do, is that because the county gives them the advance payment, it provides them cash. And since we all operate on a cash basis, we don't operate on credit or accrual. That's money that we would use to fund our daily operation.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
I'd like to second Ms. Anderson's motion if that's
Ms. Anderson, did you make a
possible.
motion?
Mr. Dieters, what is your?
No, I don't want to make a motion.
Never mind, I withdraw my motion.
I mean,
You can always do it at your next meeting.
I was gonna ask, we got our next meeting in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Isn't that
that's what
gonna
I
be
was gonna
cool
do.
enough?
Third reading.
We just suspend the third reading, we could pass the next one?
Yes, the point being, if it had passed tonight, we would have gotten it to the county, right, sooner. It's gonna,
It'll be 2 weeks later,
Yeah,
right?
that's fine.
But we can do it next meeting and still get it earlier than April, right?
right.
Okay, let's just,
Yeah.
so, no one has to feel squeamish, let's come back in 2 weeks and do it. Hopefully.
All right, next item on the agenda is further remarks from the audience as it pertains to legislation. And we will move on to old business. All right, hearing no old business, we'll move to new business. We need to have our organizational meeting. Correct me if I'm wrong, we need to confirm committee selections, the calendar, and the seating chart. Is there anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so the committees can be real easy because everybody in here is already on committees. Are we making any changes to the committees?
Mr. President,
Ms. Zorb?
I would like to make a bid to be finance chair. I feel like I'm Mr. Miller Novak constantly says that he doesn't understand the finance part and that he has a partner at work that takes care of all the financial stuff. I feel like I have a better grasp of it than.
Mr. President, was that a motion?
She called it a bid.
A bid.
Okay, so I'll make a motion then. I'll make a motion to make me the finance chair.
I'll second that motion.
All right, so motion to name Ms. Zorb Finance Chair.
Just discussion if we could, please.
Motion by Ms. Zorb to name Ms. Zorb Finance Chair, second by Ms. DeWald. Discussion. Ms. DeWald.
Yes, sir, thank you. She has been a chair of finance before and has a great grasp of what needs to be done. And also, it's been mentioned a couple of times tonight that there was no salary ordinance for 2021. That to me, that's big. That's employees that need to get raises. So with that in mind, and again, repeating what Mr. Miller Novak has said too, that he doesn't understand finance, and had a conversation with him before about that. But anyway, that's my plea bargain. That's my bargaining for Ms. Zorb.
I have a question. Mr. Miller.
Ms. Dukestein.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. President.
Ms. Dukestein.
Do you want to keep the role?
Well, yeah, I actually do. I have a fine working relationship with the administration. I think that concept or that comment's being taken out of context, and that's fine. That's what people do, specifically small-town politicians. But, you know, the regard...
President,
No, let me finish.
I'll let
It
Mr.
doesn't, he
Miller
doesn't
Novak
need to
finish.
make those comments.
Oh, come on. You want to take backhanded comments, you know, I'm allowed to defend myself. If you can't handle
Finish your
that,
statement, sir.
then don't do it.
Without.
So the point being is that I have always made that when it comes to serious decisions about finance, that I tend to follow the advice of learned professionals, whether it's legal advice, where I follow the advice of an attorney, or if it's finance advice, where I follow the advice of someone who's a CPA. It's because I'm not an idiot. So, you know, that was the context of the point. You know, regarding the salary ordinance, I certainly pushed for passing it. We wanted a 2 to 4% variance of people who were actually on the committee at the time. Ms. Hall came forward with a 2 to 4% raise. There were certain people that refused to agree to that, so it didn't happen.
No.
Because,
They just-
hey, let me finish. I'm tired of being interrupted.
Ms. Blythe, please.
So if you're not going to ask and you're not going to follow the rules of council here, then that's a problem too. What was presented to us by Ms. Hall was a 2 to 4% range. There were certain members of council, one of them being Ms. Zorb, that had a problem with that, and we could never settle on what the percentage was. So at the end of this year, we drove through and we got the raises done. That's what happened. So I don't really, you know, it's revisionist history. Like the same people that caused the problem with the raise are not complaining about it. And it is what it is. I mean, people are going to have to vote, they're going to have to decide, but what I would argue is that there was a lot of problems in the past with Finance Council because the communication between the administration and the Finance Committee was so contentious. And I'm sorry, that was under your leadership. That the relationship between the administration and finance was so contentious that things were not getting done. There was problems that happened. I think some of the issues that happened with the budget we had to fix this year, we're actually fixing the past, whether it was under Ms. Bailey's leadership, I don't know, or whether it was under Ms. Zorb's. We had to fix that this year. That cost us time, and that cost us a lot of heartache. So for me, the issue is not about me being a finance champion. It's not about me being a CPA. It's about having a solid working relationship between the Finance Committee and the administration where it's not contentious between the two. There's actually a cooperation to get things done. So while the salary ordinance had a problem because there was a complete disagreement between council members that completely derailed it. There are so many other things that I think we got done much more fluidly. The budget, for one. This is one of the first years I think I remember the budget actually being passed, like the full budget, by January 1st. Since I've been on council, that's never happened. So, I mean, we want to pluck out certain things that didn't happen because there's disagreements. That's fine. It is what it is. Whatever council votes on, I'm completely comfortable with it. But I said my piece.
Okay, motion on the floor to name Ms. Zorb as the finance chair. The motion's by Ms. Zorb, seconds by Ms. DeWald. I will call the roll. Ms. Dukes-Dean.
No.
Ms. DeWald.
Yes.
Ms. Underwood.
No.
Mr. Miller-Novak.
Nope.
Ms. Zorb.
Yes.
Ms. Blythe.
Yes.
Ms. Anderson.
No.
Motion fails, 3-4. Any other committee?
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood.
I am either chair or vice chair of 3 committees, and I would like to step down from one. If someone is interested in any one of them, I would prefer to keep public safety, but I am willing to step down from rules and public policy, also willing to step down from community development.
When does Mr. President,
Ms. Dukes-Dean.
when does community development meet?
Mr. President,
Is that,
Ms. Anderson.
we meet the second Monday of every month at 6:30, and I try my hardest not to go over the time. Though you
Same
can
night as
ask
finance.
Mr. Miller-Novak. Yeah,
okay.
right before finance.
Well, I motion to be chair of community development.
Co-chair? Or
vice
vice
chair.
chair?
Vice chair, sorry.
Chair.
Please don't take my job.
I thought she said chair. I'm sorry. Vice chair.
Vice chair. Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood.
I'll second that.
All right, so this is vice chair of
Community development.
community development.
City Community Development and Recreation.
Yes,
Committee.
city community development and rec. Motion by Ms. Dukes-Dean, second by Ms. Underwood. Any discussion? I'll call the roll. Ms. Dukes-Dean.
Yes.
Ms. DeWald.
Yes.
Ms. Underwood.
Yes.
Mr. Miller-Novak.
Yep.
Ms. Zorb.
Yes.
Ms. Blythe.
Yes.
Ms. Anderson.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Anything else around the committees? Okay. Move to calendar. We have all of the holidays accounted for on this one. And by the way, thank you, Ms. DeWald, for working on this for us.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion, we accept the calendar as presented.
Motion by Ms. Zorb to accept the calendar.
I'll second that.
Ms. Dukes-Dean seconds. Any discussion? All right, I will call the roll. Ms. Dukes-Dean.
Yes.
Ms. DeWald.
Being I created it, should I vote? I'll abstain. I'll make it easy.
Ms. Underwood.
No.
Mr. Miller-Novak.
Yes.
Ms. Zorb.
Yes.
Ms. Blythe.
Yes.
Ms. Anderson.
No.
So it's 4-2 with an abstention. And that passes, correct?
Yes.
Just need majority. All right, and then seating chart.
Does anybody want to move? I mean, that's the easiest way to do it. I'm sorry, Mr. President.
Mr. Miller Novak.
Does anybody want to move? Because if no one wants to move their seat, then there's really nothing to talk about.
Marjorie in love, aren't we?
What's that?
I said, me and Marjorie in love, we can't move.
Okay, well then we
I like
don't,
my seat. I don't know what y'all
we don't want to disrupt love. Does anybody else want to move?
Disagree, but it's good. It's good.
I don't. I mean, I'm comfortable where I am.
I like where I
How
sit.
we balance things.
You don't have a choice. You get the center no matter what. So anybody, any takers? Sounds like we're done.
So, is there anything else from an organizational perspective that I didn't consider?
I don't believe so.
Any other new business?
Yes, sir.
Ms. DeWalden?
I had a conversation with Mr. Mosby. I don't know if it was this week or last week. Holidays kind of get in the way. Because we have a little extra money in the budget, I discussed getting chairs for that caucus room. That makes it look better when you walk in there. We need to show some level of professionalism somewhere. I'm going to start in that caucus room. I also talked about maybe replacing these chairs. They seem so unsafe. Numerous times I've seen people get up, their belt loops stick, it turns the little armrest over, the seat flips up. So I'd like to have that into consideration. And I know that Ms. Underwood and I have spoke probably for over a year now regarding file cabinets for the caucus room. We have outgrown the huge cabinet that maintains the original documents of council meetings. I don't know what the answer is for that, but I'd like to look into that as well. Another thing that was talked about, probably 2 years ago, was a message board. There's a board out here that's supposed to be for council, and it's got a lot of stuff on there. So I don't know if if there could be is there a covered glass cabinet that can go outside to put council documentation? Because if that's the place for the public to see, number one, most people can't get in the building. Number two, they can't read it from outside. And I think to stick them out on the windows, I think that is so tacky to be putting paperwork up there. So, and again, ideas are welcome, but just some of the things I'd like to see for the new year.
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood?
we don't have enough chairs. You know how much I love these tables. However, now we don't have enough chairs. We don't have a seat for our clerk and our finance director. So I don't know what we need to do or how we need to figure things out, but we need to figure that out.
Mr. President,
Mr. Mosby?
yes, if I may, part of what was in the budget, of course, was to redesign the council chambers. I will be honest, what I had in mind was kind of almost not a complete U, but it was kind of an angle shape, a half a hexagon.
Mm-hmm.
In which case you would have 3 on each side, which would make 9. That way the clerk could sit amongst the esteemed members of council, and that would leave enough at the table for the others.
Mr. President,
Ms. Anderson?
I don't know if right now would be an appropriate time, but do you want suggestions from us of like stuff that we would appreciate to see in the revamping of council chambers? Like
Well,
for,
It is organizational, so maybe.
right, like for example, I could really use a plug over here.
Oh, let's talk about electricity in this
That's just
room.
like, I don't mean, like, I
Electrical
mean, that's
outlets.
like what, but that's just the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Do you want us to just like send you an email? Do you want us to tell you now? What would you?
probably, I would say to send me an email.
Okay.
Actually, I appreciate that.
Perfect, okay.
People did have,
Yeah, a lot of those new tables will have a system where you can plug in one place
right.
and then it'll run power to the whole table.
yeah,
That'd be
and I
awesome.
think what we would need to do is I would have to incorporate that into an RFP.
There you
So
go.
I would need to know.
I just want to point out that Ms. Anderson said she loves her seat, but she wants it changed.
Just a plug right here would be very good.
It's an upgrade.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Not the seat, but.
Install a sunroof.
I'm one of those massage chairs.
Uh-oh,
It's in
that's a-
there.
that's
Any
a
other new
different
business?
story.
No.
Excuse me, sorry.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
I'll second that.
Motion by Ms. Zorb, second by Ms. DeWald to adjourn tonight's meeting. Ms. Dukestein?
Yes.
Ms. DeWald?
Yes.
Mr. Underwood?
Yes.
Ms. Underwood?
I'll take it, yes.
Mr. Miller Novak?
Yep.
Ms. Zorb?
Yes.
Ms. Blythe?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. We are adjourned.